So with your teacher training, you're just about to run a course here in Byron Bay. Tell us a little bit about that. When does it start?
I'm doing a teacher training from October 15th to November 30th. And it's both a 200-hour and with some 300-hour subjects. So the idea is that you go through the whole 200 hours, which is actually 250 hours, get your basic qualifications in how to teach asana, pranayama, meditation, learning about Ayurveda, how to incorporate that. We're going to be having beautiful talks on yoga philosophy, specifically focusing on Vedanta and self-knowledge. And then from there, with that sort of underneath your belt, you can go into, we're going to do sequencing, adjusting, advanced pranayamas, advanced meditations. But those things are more for you as a practitioner. Right. So this particular training is all about you. It's about getting the skills to teach and being able to teach, and at the same time taking your own practice to the next level so that you have incredible confidence in yourself as a teacher. Because I think we do teacher trainings, and then most of us do like a 5-week teacher training and we're like, oh, I'm not ready to teach. But basically that's because you want to feel really confident in your own practice and established in your own practice. So this training's 7 weeks, and it's still not, long enough, but it's very intensive. So we're doing, a very early start, like I think it's a 7 a.m. start, and we finish at 5:30, and the whole time you're immersed in yoga. So, and that's like what I did when I was doing my trainings, was I just did like these intensive periods of yoga immersion. And that gave me a lot of confidence in myself, to understand what yoga is, to really connect with those deeper aspects that you might not get. I work with mantras and mudras and yantras, and we do a lot of kirtan, and it's just like, I guess it's sort of like immersing yourself in a bit of an ashram environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And coming out the other side. Coming out the other side thinking, okay, yeah. And hopefully wanting to really share, what you've received from that with usually initially as a yoga teacher, you'll start with your friends and you'll, get them into it, and then you'll get your confidence up that way, and then you'll start teaching classes. But I've found that most people who train with me, it doesn't take very long for them to get out there and teach, and that's basically because we kind of give people a sequence to teach. It's a very set sequence, and we almost give them a script and a lot of information about modifications, contraindications, just prop use, whatever they need, so that when they get out there to teach the sequence, they at least don't have to panic that they've got to make something up on the spot. They've got that to rely on. And then to back it up, they have this understanding of themselves. They have this understanding of kind of the deeper meaning of yoga. And so they're bringing that in. So it's not just asana. They're teaching breathing. They're teaching meditation. And they have kind of the theory behind that. And they feel confident with that. Yeah.
Wonderful. And with teacher training, if people are out there looking for a school or a teacher to go with to become a teacher themselves, what do you think they should be seeking or asking? What questions do you think they should be asking of the schools that they're looking at?
Well, they're looking for a teacher who is experienced, number one, who's taught a lot of teachers and knows groups and understands groups. Someone who's going to give them personal attention. Like a lot of training programs are fantastic, but they're they haul in the students, and there's maybe 50, 60 people, and you're not going to get that personal attention. So some programs out there limit their intake to say 12, 15 people because they want to really support that person to become a teacher, and I think that's a really important part. That the teacher is available once the training finishes, that you could email that teacher, that you could have that teacher as your mentor, that you could feel that you're not just one of the crowd, but actually your training and your experience matters. And also that teacher offers ongoing opportunities. So to me, a really good teacher training is where the teacher is really present with each student and is interested in cultivating a personal relationship with the students. And secondly, obviously, it has to have great anatomy, a well-rounded program, comprehensive program that has everything in it, so you're not just getting pure asana, a wide view, a broad view of yoga philosophy, so that you're kind of not limited to one point of view, because that's what happens too, is the yoga teacher and what they've studied, their sort of view on philosophy becomes what's taught, rather than a wide view where you're going to see, okay, well, what's the big picture philosophically with yoga. And then, a teacher who themselves is very grounded in meditation and breathing, that they have a solid practice, you can see they practice. And then it's like a personal thing. I think also when you do a teacher training, some people really don't mind being in a big group and just want to get the skills, and they don't really care. And some people really want to, they go because that teacher really appeals to them and just really inspires them. And so it's very individual.
Right. And finally, if you had to do your time over again as a teacher, now I'm not talking, I'm not talking about yoga per se, I'm talking about business. So I'll haul you into that.
Okay, let's go.
I'm talking from a business perspective. If you had your time over, what would you do differently?
Well, it's interesting because now that we have this whole online marketing world, and we didn't have that when I started doing things, in the 90s, it's really different. So I would say I would have done a business course and actually learned how to promote and sell myself formally rather than doing it intuitively. And I would have, I think that's the main thing, is just educated myself, because I've especially did this great course with you just the other day, and it was so informative and so useful for me because it put a lot of my intuitive ideas into a format and a structure, which meant that I could actually go, so that's what I've been doing, and I'm on the right track, and I can add this and this and this and this. So I think having business support would have made a big difference to me, because a lot of times I was overworking, getting frustrated, didn't know how to manage the tools that I had. I mean, I went through 3 different websites before I actually got to the website that I wanted. And spent thousands and thousands of dollars, rather than, I think something that you said which really helped me was like, just build the audience and wait to launch the final product. And now we can do that. We've got Facebook, we've got Twitter, we've got all these social we've got newsletters. We can sort of build a group and an audience, and then when we feel really confident that we've got that there, then we can say, okay, now I'm going to launch my website, and everyone's like there for it and ready for it, as opposed to, well, first there'll be Rachel@intuitiveyoga.com, then I'll be Rachel, blah 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 blah, and now finally, okay, Rachel Zinman Yoga, which took so long to get to that. And then it's a process of, even then, with sort of more information about how to market myself, the way I set up the website was very convoluted and lots of links. And now it's like, oh, okay, I just need to have one page with the information. If people want to read further, they can go. But make it clear and to the point, and sell it straight on that first page. So I think it's just, having someone like you and your business as a support.
Well, thank you.
Those days would have been fantastic.
I didn't coach you to say that.
No, not at all. No, because it doesn't really, I really feel that, I really feel that, because you're really you're just looking in the dark for how to do these things. And you don't really have, as a yoga teacher, you don't have a good business model, because you're thinking, well, I don't want to be like business, I want to do it sort of organically, intuitively. And it's interesting, I did a little bit of research on some websites after your course, and I actually signed up to Amy Ippoliti, and everything that you said, she had free offers, she had all these things, and I was like, wow, there it is on one page, the whole course, And I thought, so she's taken a business model and applied it to yoga, and it really works.
Absolutely.
And people are totally into it. And you'd think, oh no, you don't want to come across like that because you're a yoga teacher, but actually you can see that the most successful teachers are the ones who adopt a business model and actually go for it in that way.
Absolutely. And ultimately, when they are adopting a more business mentality with yoga, they're going to reach a far broader audience and be able to serve a far greater number of people more effectively, rather than being burnt out and having to hold down second jobs and third jobs and kind of do it as a bit of a hobby side thing, even though their heart and soul really wants to be teaching yoga full time.
I think though the one thing that I've noticed, and that's sort of it takes time and confidence. Like you have to have confidence in the tools that you're given, that you can use the tools, and then you have to have the time to make mistakes.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to go, try this, oh no, that doesn't work, try this and that doesn't work, and kind of go through a little bit of a trial and error process, because you know, someone like me who's very pitta and very perfectionist is like, you know, I take the information home and I think, okay, tomorrow I'm just going to do it all. But actually, like, oh my God, it sounded good when it went in the ears. But when I'm actually looking at the thing on the website, I'm like, ah, you know. And so I was spending the whole day just working that out. And so you could get a little like, well, where's the yoga in this? You know?
Yeah.
So you actually have to sort of say, well, I guess you have to plan, like, sort of say, okay, well, I've got, say, maybe 3 months to really learn this technology, or sort of get a business model together, and maybe I just have to keep plugging away at the way things are now and just trust that maybe in a year's time or 2 years' time I'll have everything set up, so it'll just be really easy for me. And I can say for myself, I feel a bit like that right now, even though I've been, you know, doing a lot and been really successful.
Yeah.
Now I can feel like how much more effort is needed to, you know, take it to the next level for me with what I want to share. It's more like about what I want to share. It's not about it's not about anything other than that. Like, I have so much to share, and I just want more people to know about it.
Yeah, well, that's it.
That's
I mean,
it.
that's ultimately it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this is the joy of the internet, is that, you know, the multiplier effect, these vast numbers of people that we can share with.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. It's so fun.
Thank you for being honest and open and sharing with everybody about your experiences.
Great. Thank you.